teens now behind bars for gunning down their former friend. More on the late afternoon arrest.
Fatal flight. An airline engine explodes mid-flight. One person dies, others are hurt. The NTSB now sharing new information.
Why did you need to call the police to remove a swarm of bees from your car? Why?
Live from Atlanta, 11 Alive at 5 starts now.
We begin with breaking news in Cobb County, where authorities are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting. It occurred at 95 South Service Drive. That's in Austell, near Six Flags over Georgia. We are told that the officers were not injured. No other details have been released, and we will continue to update you on 11 Alive and 11alive.com for any information that we are able to get. New at 5, a second teen now facing murder charges after a 17-year-old was shot and killed in Union City. Trey Graham was taken into custody just hours ago.
And this arrest comes as we continue to press police about the victim's connection to two teenagers charged in his murder. 11
Alive's Latasha Givens is live outside the Fulton County Jail tonight with the very latest information.
Well, Cheryl and Jeff, the two teens charged with murder are being held here at the Fulton County Jail, with the second suspect arrested this afternoon. Trey Graham is awaiting his first appearance. But tonight, police tell us this shooting was not random at all. Friends turned foes is how police describe the relationship between the victim, Chevelle Thompson, and two suspects.
They were actually former friends that had a ongoing dispute that escalated into the unfortunate death of this teenager.
Thompson was gunned down in this Union City neighborhood Monday afternoon. He died in front of Greg Jordan's home on Rock Road. Jordan was at work at the time, but came home to all the commotion.
First thing came to my mind was make sure my family okay.
Tuesday morning, the first suspect, Isaiah Turner, was set to appear in court.
Mr. Turner is charged with murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a weapon during the commission of a felony.
He waived his right to hear the charges against him.
All major players have been placed into custody.
By Tuesday afternoon, Trey Graham was also arrested.
He's going to be charged with the same charges as the trigger man. He's facing charges of aggravated assault, felony murder, as well as possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony.
But many questions remain, like exactly where the victim was shot, what led police to the two suspects, and where the gun came from.
It's a tragedy, you know, for a young black man to get shot, you know, especially in a quiet neighborhood like this.
While there's a lot of information police can't release right now on this murder investigation, they do tell us they have been able to rule out any gang affiliation in connection with it. Live in Fulton County, I'm Latasha Givens, 11 Alive News.
The jury now has the case in the Tex McIver murder trial. The Atlanta attorney is accused of intentionally shooting and killing his wife Diane as they were riding in an SUV together in 2016. 11 Alive has streamed every day of this trial live on our digital platforms, reaching more than 1.6 million people. We've even seen key moments trend on Google searches, like when the star witness Danny Jo Carter took the stand. And now within the last hour, the judge charged the jury after more than a month of testimony. Caitlin Ross is at the courtroom now, and Caitlin, both sides trying very hard to prove their case in this final chance to appeal to the jury today.
Cheryl, these were very passionate closing arguments. People were yelling, banging on the jury box as they both tried to prove their side. And both sides focused on this one key phrase, reasonable doubt. They both tried to prove that that phrase helped their side of the case. The legal definition means there's no other logical explanation that can be derived from the facts except that the defendant committed the crime, thereby overcoming the presumption that a person is innocent until proven guilty. The prosecution described it as a common sense in this case, akin to something we deal with every day here in Georgia.
That is pollen on my car. And Mr. Samuel or Mr. Harvey might want to tell me, well, Kara, you didn't do any testing on the pollen. You didn't take a sample of the substance and send it off to the lab. You know, it could be someone who came into the courthouse, a disgruntled employee, and hosed down the first row of cars with the yellow dust. It could be. It's possible, but it's not reasonable. You know beyond a reasonable doubt that that's pollen.
But the defense says this is much more complicated than pollen. They gave a long list of 16 different doubts that they had about the case and said that if the jury believed even one of them, they had to find Tex McIver not guilty.
I'm going to talk to you about doubts that exist, about the state's theory and about the evidence that they've presented here. And I caution you as I begin, you don't need, I'm going to just list 16, the most prominent doubts. You don't need 16 doubts to return a verdict of not guilty. You just need one doubt, one reasonable doubt about the theory of the prosecution's case. If you have one reasonable doubt, you don't have an option. At that point, your verdict must be not guilty.
The jury began deliberating at 3:30 this afternoon, and coming up at 6, we'll talk about what those 12 men and women are doing right now. Cheryl?
Caitlin, I've been following you on Twitter, and you said it didn't take long for the jurors to ask some questions.
Yes, they immediately came back to the judge and they asked 3 questions. The most important being they asked to see the gun that was used to kill Diane McIver, and they wanted it unlocked so they could test it themselves. So immediately the deputy said okay, brought that gun back, and the jurors are looking at that weapon right now.
All right, look forward to more from you at 6 o'clock. Caitlin Ross reporting. Thank you. To dig even deeper into the trial and the crucial points that could make or break this case, 11Alive's Vinny Politan and his legal dream team will be hosting another Facebook Live at 7:30 tonight. Log on, ask any questions that are on your mind, and let us know what you think this jury will decide. New tonight, a teenager who disappeared from Spalding County nearly 2 years ago has been found alive and well. This is video the Sheriff's Department posted on its Facebook page. It shows the now 17-year-old named Aubrey Carroll. The teenager was reported missing in May of 2016 after he never returned home from school. This is a picture comparing Carroll at age 15. On the left, a picture of him now at age 17. The post did not go into details about where he has been all this time, where he was found. We're hoping to get more information later.
The family of a boy who drowned at a summer camp at Cochrane Mill Nature Center has now filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Benjamin Hosh was only 5 years of age when he drowned at the Chattahoochee Hills camp last July. The children and staff went to a waterfall to eat lunch and play. When the group prepared to leave, Benjamin was nowhere in sight. The staff later discovered him in a shallow pond. Benjamin's family says the camp has been operating without a license for more than 20 years.
Just thinking about all the other kids that are out there at camps, at places where they may not have licensure, they may not have proper supervision. And so we're here to make it known that those places, they have to stop doing business. It has to be about the safety of all the children.
2 people are now facing criminal charges in Benjamin's death. The director of the camp, who was in charge of watching the boy, and the president of the board of directors for allegedly operating an early car program without a license. Neither have turned themselves in to police yet.
Well, we're talking about warmer temperatures around the weather department today. 11Alive storm trackers are marking on just how beautiful the day has become with very few in the way of clouds. They've moved off with that area of low pressure that brought in our cold, wet weather the last couple of days. It's out of here, and we're seeing these temperatures warming up nicely in the mid-70s in Atlanta right now, and in Marietta in the low 70s, in Dalton and Canton, and we're looking at 67 degrees right now in Blairsville, where we had a little bit of snow yesterday, so warming it up very nicely. We're running some 10 to 25, I should say about 15 to 25 degrees warmer than we were just 24 hours ago today, so at this hour. So we're looking at 23 degrees warming in Gainesville and in Atlanta. So definitely temperatures on the rise. We've had the breezy conditions today, not as windy as we were yesterday, but it's been breezy. We've had winds gusting up around 25 to 30 miles per hour today. So below those advisory wind speeds, but still a little gusty at times. And we're going to see a shift in the winds as we head into the overnight hours, and that's going to bring our temperatures way up tomorrow into the 80s. It'll be breezy, but it'll be a warm type of breeze as we head into the middle of the week ahead of another frontal system. So coming up, we'll talk about the impacts of that front that's going to be moving through overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning.
This type of racism, this hatred, is not welcome. And I want to invite and encourage anybody who's willing to help us to resist.
Kids got to see this stuff, and that's not good. You got kids that'll be at home, and you got to see a bunch of people running through the street, talking about they hate people.
Tonight, concern continues to grow over a neo-Nazi rally being planned in the heart of downtown Noonan. Residents and community activists alike fearing for the worst ahead of Saturday's demonstration. Many stores have said they're going to close their doors. They don't want to have anything to do with this. But Joe Hankey talked to the owner of one place who's hoping by staying open, he can help bring his community together.
Yeah, we're definitely a minority.
Vinyl Light Records in downtown Noonan will be open for business Saturday.
These are widely available.
Even with a neo-Nazi rally coming to town. The majority of businesses in downtown are choosing to close their doors due to safety concerns.
The first thing that stuck out to me was the date and how unfortunate that is.
Owner Jesse Yates says April 21st was already on his calendar because it is National Record Store Day.
It started as just a small group of stores doing it, you know, in their geographical area, and then people really caught on to it. Other stores started celebrating it, and it just blew up from there.
Record Store Day promotes local vinyl shops, and long lines often turn out to buy rare and limited edition records.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
As Yates helps a customer find records today, he says he is also staying open Saturday for another reason. He strongly believes music can bring everyone together.
You'll find all sorts of people in record stores just because the music actually draws, you know, the crowds of those types of people.
The crates filled with records at Vinyl Light stretch from jazz to pop to country, a little something for everyone. And if you step away from the music, Yates says everyone he knows in Noonan is against this weekend's rally.
As a town, I know for a fact that we don't condone this type of thing. This isn't anything that we agree with.
He says the rally must be allowed, though, because of the First Amendment. It allows a neo-Nazi group to rally in Noonan, and it is the same reason artists are able to fill his store with music which unites listeners.
Without that, we wouldn't have Kendrick Lamar's Damn winning a Pulitzer Prize. You know, we wouldn't have that kind of stuff. So, I mean, we have to respect it, and us being open for it, I think, kind of exemplifies that fact.
So as the records are spinning Saturday at Vinyl Light, Yates will be open for business, but he also understands other owners who decide to close up shop.
And I'll be here. I own the record store, you know, and I don't expect anybody to be here with me if they don't want to be, but, you know, I'll definitely be here.
In Noonan, I'm Joe Hankey, 11Alive News.
A mother's warning tonight after being hit in the face by a hockey puck. That is horror. It is an accident that can happen to anybody in any stadium or arena around this country or in Canada. Why she says it is important to read the fine print on your ticket.
Plus, big news from Starbucks tonight after two men were arrested inside a coffee shop, sparking many protests, while the coffee chain plans to close more than 8,000 stores for a day next month.
And one person killed after an explosion on the Southwest flight in midair. As we told you at the top of the broadcast, we will hear from those terrified passengers and what the federal government now is blaming for the explosion.